There we are. Good afternoon to the good people. Good afternoon to the bad people, friends and enemies. And a good afternoon, boom, shakalaka to you all. I am Chris Bass. Welcome back to the Precursor. We do this on Wednesdays, and it's obvious it's the precursor to Baseline on Fridays. So it's very simple, very easy. So you catch us here on Wednesdays at 4 p.m. Central. Great to be with you again as we enter a new month. And man, the summer goes by quick. I mean, I'm saying the obvious, but it get kind of funky when you got 3 months pretty primarily and to enjoy and to get out and enjoy the weather. I'm pretty much a homebody, but just the option of that, I don't know. And then you turn around and it's going to be fall. And then you notice the time because daylight savings time will be here. We gain the hour and stuff like that, but still, it's like, man, I was just getting the summer. Sometimes it takes you 3 months to get into it. Sometimes, so depending on how you jump into it. But we are here. Back in the day when I was a youth, we had Labor Day, and then school started after Labor Day. We know that's changed over the years because nowadays the CPS, Chicago Public School Systems, they start 2 weeks ago in August. Yeah, but change happens. So good, bad, or indifferent. Happy Wednesday to Barbara Jean. Thank you. Same to you. Thank you so much. Happy Wednesday to you too. And she's also, of course, on the Chris Space channel. As I get it up here like that. There you go. That's how you do it. And that's on YouTube, the Chris Base channel with a period at the end of the channel. Make sure you subscribe, like, and share. You want to call in as we get the program up and away. 312-597-2106. I don't know. I think about ditching the phone number. I think I might get rid of it. I'm thinking about it. Seriously. Uh, had I known that I would not get any type of response from, I would never have put the money into it to do it. So I don't know. I have to think about that one. Because as you know, everybody's to respond in the comment section, and that's great. Like I said before, in my mind, in my pea brain, I want to expand the sound of the show. That makes sense. I told you before on other occasions to give the audience more options than just typing. Now, once again, some people feel compelled to just type and that's it. But for the other people who like to respond vocally, then I provide that with the phone number, of course, or the link, show link that I put into the comment section and go from there. So we will see and from that capacity. That's about the peanut gallery, the comment section. You want to, of course, type on into that, just like Barbara Jean does, as the other people do as well. So of course we're in the middle of the week. So far so good. Feeling pretty good. Of course, getting used to the new dig. Still, it's still amazing when you move and you look around. It's like, do I actually live here? Is this my home right now? So it still has that new car smell to it. But no, we're getting there. Hello, Omar. Say hello, Chris. Happy Wednesday, and of course, to hello to Barbara Jean. Thank you, Omar. How you doing? Thank you for being here. Midweek. Let's see here. All right, so let's do a deep dive into this about the Jeffrey Epstein files. Trump reiterated his belief today that the push to release the documents related to Jeffrey Epstein is a Democrat hoax. His remarks came shortly after one Epstein accuser took aim at the president's assertion, saying there is no hoax, the abuse was real. Trump also floated the possibility of a federal crackdown in New Orleans, pointing to support from the state's GOP governor. He has previously said he would send National Guard here to Chicago. The Ukraine-Russia situation, Trump warned President Vladimir Putin that you'll see things happen, quote unquote, as he hinted and punitive steps against Russia over the lack of progress toward peace. Uh, when you saw the presser earlier with the survivors of abuse from Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell, they had it today on the Capitol Hill. And I think, again, it was just a very united front with these survivors. Hell, the majority of survivors happen to be Republican. The women who unfortunately went through all this and stated their claims and told their stories and were not hiding behind false names. They were actually out there, which is very, very brave, to say the very least. And these survivors continue to put the message out there that Trump needs to say, okay, release the tapes, release the files. Through tears, a group of women who say they were victimized by Jeffrey Epstein shared their stories on Capitol Hill as they called on lawmakers to support the release of the records that the Department of Justice has so far withheld from Congress. Marina Lacerda, a central witness in Epstein's 2019 indictment, who spoke with ABC News, said this is not a hoax. It's not going to go away. Let's see. Back to the comment section. Okay, so boy, you got Barbara Jean. Also, a happy birthday / born day to the good pastor. Absolutely, absolutely. Of course, to Pastor Donovan Price. Let's see what else we got here. Hey, how you doing, Tom Treadup? Trump does not need troops in Chicago. The baseline protects us. Well, again, Tom, your lips to God's ear on that one. Thank you for the comment. Of course, Tom Treadup, my former boss, president and general manager of WLS AM and FM back in the day. Thank you for that. I appreciate that. What's up, Jed? Good afternoon, Base Nation. Heard on MSNBC there was a disruptive flyover during the testimony from victims. Trump is evil. Yes. Yes, absolutely. Yes. It was done on purpose. I caught that on MSNBC too as well, Jed. The flyover. When the victims were talking on Capitol Hill, that was supposed to, of course, kind of like squelch people from listening to them, which again, it's sick. What do you have to hide? Going back to the president. What do you got to hide? And you do all this deflection, mind you. You can have troops in D.C. You want to put troops here in Chicago. You want to put troops in L.A. and the archives was reading about. You want to put troops in New Orleans, supported by the GOP governor. So you're putting all this out there because you know that those files will be released. But again, it's deflection. It's like answer the question, but you can't, or shan't and shan't not. Bob, this is what's going on. Barbara types, happy early birthday / born day to both you and the good pastor. Yeah, we both share the same day. So, yes, tomorrow, September 4th, will be our day. It's kind of funny you run the people at the same birthday as you, especially since I've known Pastor for a while, and I met him at Urban Broadcast Media. I was doing my talk show at the time. He wasn't on the crusade yet. At the time, he was doing something else altogether different. And I saw him. He was running the studio somewhere, and we had a conversation. I said, "Well, why don't you come in? I'll interview you." And that's what happened. So I was like, "Okay, cool." and that's how we met. And then years later, uh, I'm checking everything out, and very good individual, very nice, had a lot to say. And this was like, well, actually, like pre-pastor, if you think about it. And then was able to go from there. So yeah, it was fun. Ooh wee, and just a coinkydink. I don't believe in coincidences because again, when you meet somebody, and years later, I would see him on TV doing the whole street pastor thing. I'm like, you gotta be kidding me! And there you go. And going back to this whole thing with Trump and these victims of Epstein victims, again, bravery, as far as I'm concerned. And you cannot take things like this literally, not literally, to the standpoint of not taking it seriously, and you take it literally because this is where we are. One of the first survivors of the Epstein connection with his longtime associate Ghislaine Maxwell to step to the podium said the victims are coming together to have their voices be heard. She said, the days of sweeping this under the rug are over. We, the survivors, say no more. I am no longer weak. I am no longer powerless, and I am no longer alone. And with your vote, neither will the next generation, she said. She said, President Trump, you have so much influence and power in this situation. Please use that influence and power to help us because we need it now, and this country needs it now. Uh, she's right, but you both know now it ain't gonna happen. It's just not gonna happen. Barbara is Chris Base. Is that a hoodie or a sweatshirt? It's a t-shirt. The one I have on right now is a t-shirt. Black Panthers. It's a t-shirt. I thought about getting into the hoodie, but maybe later on when it starts to get a little more cold out. But right now, this is a t-shirt I have on. Let's see. Trump was asked about the press conference pushing the transparency on the Epstein files at the White House today. He continued to insist it was a Epstein hoax. That's one of his favorite words. Hoax is a hoax that distracting from his administration's success. Survivor after survivor, however, implored lawmakers to back a bipartisan push from Republican Representative Thomas Massey and Democratic Representative Ro Kahan to compel the Justice Department to publicly release the Epstein files. Forgive me, I got the man's name um, incorrect. And forgive me, but see, this type of shit bothers me when people dismiss something like sexual abuse and rape. It can be man or woman, but we're talking about women in this situation with these victims. I hate that. I hate it. Going back to the comment section. Barbara Jean, thanks. I couldn't see your arms. Okay, I understand. Not a problem. Then again, I need glasses. You and me both, sister. Yeah, I got to get a new prescription. You know, I'm not to offend blind bats, but blind's a bat. Yeah. Goes back here, Mr. President Donald J. Trump. I am a registered Republican. Not that that matters because this is not political. However, I cordially invite you to the Capitol to meet in person so you can understand this is not a hoax. We are real human beings. This is a real trauma. Survivor Haley Robeson said when she was asked by ABC News correspondent Jay O'Brien on Trump's comment about calling the matter a hoax. So this is far from insulting. I agree with the victims coming forward, the survivors, because it's not going to go away. No matter how many times they try, no matter how many times they can say it's a Democratic hoax, and it's nothing political whatsoever about this. Nothing. As I said before, you look at the panel of ladies, most of them are Republicans. It's it shouldn't be anything political, but because of who's in office and who he is and what the administration does, they enjoy political theater, name calling, verbally putting their knee in people's necks. They get off on that. This is what they do. So, having said that, you try your best to, again, maneuver. You try your best to navigate, but it ain't easy sometimes. It really isn't. Let's see. So, again, dealing with this process is something that has to be fought tooth and nail. And heads up, as I told you from day one when all this happening, we got to fight. We have to fight. We have no other choice. We have to. Omar, Chris, nice sweatshirt you on today. So, like, yeah, no, but it's a t-shirt. As I told Barbara Jean. Barbara Jean asked, "This is a sweatshirt?" No, it's a t-shirt. So you see, because she said she couldn't see my arms, so here's my arms right here. But this is a t-shirt that I have on. Uh, some people probably do not like to fight, and that's okay. But if you can't find a reason to fight for yourself, then fight for somebody else. I don't know, fight for your children, fight for your neighbor, fight for your spouse, fight for your dog. 'Cause remember, they eat the cats, eat the dogs, so you got to fight for them too. Emotional support animals got to fight for them too. And so to see them on Capitol Hill, they should be actually at Capitol Hill, not just standing on the lawn like that. They should they should be there talking to these political people, these Congress people. It should be in there. It should be a conversation, but nobody wants to do that. Why? Because it just might uncover the truth. It just might. Oh, Mario, don't worry about it. No harm, no foul. No, not a problem. Because you going real quick with the whole shirt thing. Yeah, because again, Barbara Jean thought it was. She asked about was it a sweatshirt or a hoodie. We are all hallucinating, or did something fly out of the White House window? Trump saw the vid and still says fake. Crazy dementia alert. Jed types. Yes, absolutely. The man has been unhinged for years. And again, as I said before in this program or other programs that I have or platforms for content, this is what happens when you normalize bad behavior. This is what happens. You and I both know that. And I said before, and once again, I hope whoever is checking this program out, who has some pull with the government or has a pull with something, I can only wish. I don't know. But here's the thing. And I said it before and I'll say it again. Let's say the Epstein files are released. Would this country be appalled by what they see and hear? I think some will, yes. But what about the people again who normalize this man? Who said it was okay? I mean, 34 counts against him, impeached in office more than once, ground by the P. If you normalize grabbing by the pussy, if you normalize that, which they did, so who's to say come out and he does unfortunately have some pedophilia with him? They'll normalize it. They'll say it's okay. It's okay to rape girls and have sex with them. They'll normalize it, just like they normalize everything else. Now you and I both know it's sick. What's been done to him? Nothing. No wonder he thinks like he's Teflon Don. Gets away with everything. And you and I both know if Donald J. Trump was black, please, please, let's build a new jail to put him under if he was black. Not saying orange is new black, mind you. But if he was blacker than black, y'all, we would have the conversations. Remove him from office, they would physically send troops, troops into D.C. and Chicago. They would put troops into the White House to remove a black man, Donald Trump. You're talking about the ultimate white privilege on the situation, orange privilege. Yes, we all understand about free speech. But the playbook is out of date. Trump, the playbook's out of date. You got to get a new playbook. So I guess the new playbook is the National Guard. I think that's the new one now. Because before, when we got wind of Jeffrey Epstein and the files and Ghislaine Maxwell and everything else, what do you say? Let me throw out who? Let's see what I got. Let's throw out Biden. Okay, well, so what? Okay, let's see. Let's throw out Obama. Oh no, well, okay, so what? Let's throw out Hillary Clinton. That's right, Crooked Hillary. No, that's all in the past. Right now, not now, but right now, address that. And this is why there's this goddamn ducking and dodging and throwing all this peripheral stuff out here. National Guard here, National Guard there, National Guard everywhere. Let's take the ball, mine off the ball, and put it somewhere else. No. People are still focused on that ball, sir. Again, they're not going anywhere. You can try and try and try, but they're not going anywhere. Illinois Governor J.B. Pritzker gets a first look today at how some violence interrupters are training in advance of the expected surge of federal immigration agents and members of the National Guard deploying to Chicago. The Chicago Sun-Times reported today that nearly 30 federal agents have already arrived at the naval base in North. Governor Pritzker made it clear Illinois has to be ready for whatever may follow the deployment of the National Guard in Washington, D.C., which the president praised again Wednesday afternoon. We have a great thing going. I could do that with Chicago, Trump said. We could do that with New York. We could do that with Los Angeles. So we're making a determination now. Do we go to Chicago or do we go to a place like New Orleans where we have a great governor, Jeff Landry, who wants to come in and work with us? There was a meeting and then there was a presser that was here recently here in Chicago. And it was J.B. Pritzker, the governor. It was here Chicago Mayor Brendan Johnson. You also had Tony Preckwinkle, Democratic leader. Um, I don't know. It was a great presser, and it showed that we're not going to have someone like Trump come into the fray here in our city and had these federal troops. Uh, I thought it was interesting that the numbers show that there was a spike over the weekend going into Labor Day here in Chicago. But that happens every year. I'm not condoning the violence, mind you. I'll never condone violence. And Pastor Price would speak on that better than I can. But still, no, we can't have that. We don't need federal troops here. We don't need the National Guard here at all. We don't need it in DC. We don't need it in LA. We don't need it in New Orleans. Don't need it here. We don't need it. This so-called dictatorship that he's doing is beyond sick. Remember, he wanted to have uh, he wanted to have military troops march down Washington D.C. before his birthday a few months ago. He wanted tanks and military. Who does that? Oh, I know. Dictators have that. They march in sync. They march in unison. Some of them goose step. You see the tanks going down the street. Yeah, because he fancies himself as a dictator. Let's see. Let's go back to the comment section. Omar types, happy birthday, Eve, Chris. Say some cake and ice cream. Thank you, Omar, for the happy birthday, Eve comments there. Thank you so much. That means a lot. Birthday cake. I know I really haven't been thinking about my birthday from the standpoint of what to eat. I thought about getting those one of those ice cream cakes. So you cover two birds with one stone. You got the cake and the ice cream together. Something like that. Yeah. Yeah, I may do something like that. A good Oreo cookies and cream cake that comes to mind. I might have to investigate that. But no, I haven't really thought about that, and only because of the fact that I was talking to some friends of mine about this. Like, what are you gonna do for your birthday? What are you gonna do for your birthday? When I had my heart surgery back in July of 2015, and now it's been 10 years since that had happened. My birthday has a different meaning to it, if that makes sense. I'm very blessed because, once again, hopefully I'll be birthday celebrating tomorrow in my own way. But the celebration of parties and getting together with people took on a whole new meaning for me. It's hard to explain to a degree. I'll explain the best way I know how. So after my surgery and my birthday came along, it just felt different. It felt like a sigh of relief because, let's face it, I could have died on the operating table. And 2015, I'll probably say the reason why it took on a whole new meaning for me birthday wise, because 2015 was the year from hell for me, as some of you may know. My wife Vicky passed away in February 2015. My oldest daughter moved to Texas, had heart surgery by July, and then by August, my youngest daughter left to be with her boyfriend in Arizona. And so for me, my family was gone within the year. My wife, my two daughters. It's been 10 years. That's a hard one to get over. You obviously find a way to move forward, as Dr. King once said in a speech, but it's not easy. It's very difficult. And so the whole birthday thing takes on a whole new meaning. I'm just blessed to get this far. And it's humbling and it's quiet. I put it like that for my birthday. It's humbling and it's quiet since my surgery. And again, just it's just a blessing just to continue on. Really. Let's see. They still make atomic cake in Chicago, but they have bananas and strawberries and chocolate and whipped cream. Yeah, I've seen those cakes. Oh my, I can't deal with that. My stomach would be like, what the fuck are you doing to us? I can't, I can't, I can't deal. It sounds good, but no, man, I'll be on. I'll be in the bathroom a lot. But the ice cream cake sounds interesting. Like I said before, just mulling it over with the whole thing. Man, ooh wee. Yeah, I never had a atomic cake. It's a little bit too much for me. I've seen people get it before. I remember when I was coming up with my family, with my family before I got mine. When I was a kid, we would always celebrate with my grandparents, their birthdays and our birthdays. We all did it together. And I remember, let's see, we would go to Church's Chicken. This is when churches really first started, like we used to get like in the mid 70s going into the 80s. So we would get like the family Church's Chicken. And then we go by this bakery called Drexler's. And we would get the strawberry cake. And it was white buttercream cake with frosting, yellow cake itself, still, of course, on a two-layer cake, and it had strawberries in it. And it was the best cake I ever had. Best cake we all ever had. And then Walgreens used to have various ice creams and sherbets. My grandmother used to love making sherbet. She Now make sure she would get the orange sherbet and then put 7 Up in the in the glass in the container. You had like a orange sherbet float. She would do that. And then go back to the birthdays. So we would do that. In fact, we would have Harold's Chicken, and then we phased into Church's Chicken. So we would do Church's Chicken, and then whatever birthday it was, then we get the once again a cake from Drexler's. Drexler's not around anymore. They closed down over the years. But Church is still around. The church we used to go to on 75th Street, they're not there anymore. So now I think it's called Church's Texas Chicken. But back in the day, it was just churches, and we would get that and celebrate with our families. That was pretty cool. That was a nice little tradition that we had going on for a while. George Raveling, a Hall of Fame basketball coach who played a role in Michael Jordan signing a landmark endorsement deal with Nike, has died. He was 88. Raveling's family said Tuesday in a statement that he had faced cancer with courage and grace. Fuck cancer. You know how I feel about cancer. There are no words to fully capture what George meant to his family, friends, colleagues, former players, and assistants, and to the world, the families read in the statement. He will be profoundly missed, yet his aura, energy, divine presence, and timeless wisdom lives on for all who those that he touched and transformed. Let's see. Hey, how you doing, Ann? Another types good evening, Chris and Base Nation. Thank you for being here. Thank you so much. How you doing? Let's see. Raveling, who was inducted into the Naismith Memorial Basketball Hall of Fame in 2015, had a career record of 335, 293 from 1972 to 94 at Washington State, Iowa, and USC. He had a losing record in his first season at each school before making multiple trips to the NCAA tournament. The reason why I mentioned George Raveling was the fact that when I followed basketball when I was a teenage youth, There weren't too many black basketball coaches. The Big East, of course, the man 50 grand or the man a million grand, depending on what denomination of money will put towards him, John Thompson. And I used to love watching Georgetown and John Thompson back in the day. And so when I would watch other colleges, I got involved checking out Iowa when George Raveling was the coach for basketball at Iowa. Man, that was cool. University of Iowa, and he had a black coach too. Very cool. What do you say, Jed? No way. Mom's side would do the 7-Up and sherbet. One auntie swore by it. Delicacy. Yes, yes. My grandmother would have those dishes that you put ice cream in with the, like the stand on it. And so she would get it was orange sherbet from Walgreens. It had to be Walgreens. And then put the 7-Up in it. Oh, man, you're good to go. Good to go. Game changer. And so, again, go back to real quick with the strawberry birthday cake we used to have. We would get, again, going back to Walgreens, the vanilla ice cream, depending on what you like, your chocolate, vanilla, whatever. But really, what really went well with it, get it out, Chris, was the strawberry swirl ice cream. It was vanilla ice cream with strawberry swirls in it. You put that with the strawberry birthday cake, go to sleep. Eat it. In fact, do one better. Take your ass to bed, eat it in bed, and then now just put on the nightstand, go right to sleep. Go call hogs, the itis. Itis will kick in. uh, Going back to the passing of George Raveling. So George Raveling, he had to be about 6'10". Yeah, big guy. Big guy. Let me see. I get back to my George Raveling story in a moment. But first, we must have this. Now, of course, as you know, Enema Ingram and her brother Mark Ingram are official chefs of this program, Precursor and Baseline. So we're getting blessed. All right, a dinner menu: spicy and honey barbecue chicken legs, garlic butter Alfredo tortellini with a fresh garden salad and French dressing. Drink homemade lemonade dessert, fresh brownie, and vanilla ice cream. Vanilla ice cream. Let's do it again. Cheap seats. Check this out. Spicy and honey barbecue chicken legs with garlic butter, Alfredo tortellini with a fresh garden salad with French dressing. Drink homemade lemonade, dessert, fresh brownie, and vanilla. Milli Vanilla ice cream. All right. Very advertising indeed. Thank you, Ann. All right. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good night to one Sick Diggy. Hey, how you doing, Sick? You all right, man? Been a little bit. How you doing? Thank you for being here. Very cool indeed. What do you say, Sick? That would put me to put you to sleep? Yes, please. You call hogs if you could. Oh my God. Change the game. Let's see. Comment section going back to Omar and happy birthday, Pastor Price. I wish you many more birthdays to come. Definitely pass it on if you're not watching already, because again, the Pastor Price and I share the same birthday coming up. And the Milli Vanilli, I blame it on the rain. Yes. You know what? Real quick about Milli Vanilli, they really had some great songs. They did, despite being busted out and it wasn't their voices. They were beautiful songs. Blame It on the Rain. Don't Forget My Number was my personal favorite. The singers that were singing the song, I mean, again, they got paid and everything else, but still, a lot of those people, and it continues on right to this day, don't think it has not stopped. When you have people who are paid to sing and somebody else takes the credit for it, or writes for them and take the credit for it. There's a singer named Martha Wash. She was part of a group called the Weather Girls back in the day. And she was a part of that and then went on to, of course, do some studio singing. And then she was singing and they took her song, took her voice, and used it for other musical talents, quote unquote. And they were lip syncing that. Because they deemed, meaning the bright people who did PR and the bright people who were putting videos together and the bright people who did not want this to happen, because they figured that a plus size woman was not attractive. And it was a plus size woman who sang her ass off. Martha Wash could sing, or dare I say sang. So instead of doing the right thing, they had some skinny chick lip sync it and then go from there. It was a travesty, and it still is. And again, dealing with Black Box and Sweat, Say You Sweat. Those songs were good, man. And Martha Wash can blow. So I remember in real time watching the videos. I'm like, okay, because I remember Martha's voice from before. And I was like, she sound like, Martha Wash. And it turned out to be, yeah, because they were lip syncing and stealing that shit. Hey, it was a man. Rachel Montgomery says, yes, CNC Music Factory stole her thunder. They sure did. Stole it. Like a thief in the night and midday and morning and afternoon. No shame. Stick Diggy, the former, did it twice, and both times were taken to court. You talking about Black Box? I think you're talking about Black Box, yeah. But it's been going on since the beginning of time, and so becomes the music, and they'll continue to do so. CC Music Factory made amends when they had her on their 98 song, Do You Wanna? Yeah, you know what, but I thought the damage was already done by that point. Give me 1 second. Hold on 1 second. I got to take care of this.
You like my outfit?
Oh, okay, from Kentwood. How you doing? All right. Hey, say hi to everybody real quick. This is the audience. Audience, this is my nephew Caleb. Bend down a little bit so they can see you.
Hello, I'm very tall.
Right, yes you are. You're very tall. And this is my niece Mawa. Hi, say hi, Mawa.
Hi.
All right.
Little sister.
Yes. Hi. Say wave it to everybody.
Hello.
Yeah. Bend down again. Caleb, so they can see your face. So.
All right. My shoes, they are very, very nice.
They can't see your shoes, man. They're black.
Exactly.
All right, you gonna take them off real quick, or take one off real quick, so I can show them. Or take the garbage out. All right. Next time you have him on, he'll show his shoes. Yeah, go ahead.
This is wow.
Yeah, hold on. I got a pencil there.
Very nice word right here.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah, it's the book. It's my address book. Absolutely. We had gym today?
Yeah, I have gym every day.
Every day, okay. Oh yeah, put that back, please. Thank you. Yeah, you have gym every day. Okay. How was it?
We did the patient test. Basically, we had to run around.
Okay.
Like back and forth.
Okay.
Today.
And what did you do in school?
It was fun at the playground.
Playground? Okay. Cool. Hit that. All right. All right, man. All right, young lady.
And y'all, happy 4:45.
We're back on that again.
A good hay.
Boy, there's a couple of hams, boy.
45 right now. And soon it'll be 4:46, a national holiday around the world.
Okay.
Very, very nice. We're going to look at the world clock right here.
All right.
Wait to the changes.
Well, wait till he has the thing about time. You see, so
Yes,
all right.
time is a very important concept in life.
Okay, so do this real quick when I get back to the program. So what you got? What time is it now?
What time are you?
Wait, boy, what a ham! It's 2:45 where? In
2:45 in
California.
California.
Right.
5:45 in New York. And 2:45 in Phoenix.
All right.
4:45 in Dallas.
All right.
4:45. And now it's 4:46.
Oh, okay. Well, thank you.
Amazing.
All right, young sir.
Happy 4-6, everyone.
All right.
6-7.
Okay, sounds good.
Remember, y'all. 6-7.
Right. Thank you.
Everybody here?
All right. Bye bye. See you later. Ooh, wait, boy, our family. Ooh, wait. Where's go back to the conversation real quick. You said he's a time. Yeah. My nephew Caleb. Yeah. He got anointed. Yeah. He's one of the great ones from Gallifrey. Yeah. Let's see. What do you see? Your niece is adorable, man. Look, she got some lungs on her. I'm telling you, Doc. She can talk about cry and scream and cry. Yeah, she was behaving nice today, but usually gives me the black ass. She doesn't acknowledge me at all. I tap on the shoulder, "Hey, mom, what are you doing?" I'm like, "Well, the hell with you too." And good to see Caleb. Have a nice day. Okay, you take off. Okay, sick. Yeah, he was taking off. Yeah, so it's amazing when you see them grow up, obviously, and we know it's going to happen. But when you see it in real time, again, you know it's a blessing. It's really, it really is something. Man, I remember he was like down to here, Caleb, and Caleb about the same height as myself. I'm 6 feet, and we're about eye to eye right now. So I'm getting about 5'11", 6 feet. But yeah, I give him. I think he'll be about 6'6", about 6'5", 6'6". That's my guess. Let's see. Black Box and their label RCA Records got sued, and worse, since Wash vocals were on 9 of 11 tracks on their album. Yeah, and again, just the fact that I was never into the whole thing of, well, because the body is big or plus size women, they're not attractive at all. I didn't like that in real time. It's more accepted now because you just have people who have broader minds. But what was wrong if they had her in real time, meaning Martha Wash, getting the due that she had been deserving? Because again, she carries the. It's her lead. Her lead. So, yep, never fails. Oh yeah, let me get this other story real quick before we have some minutes left here. Let's see if I get here. Hold on a second. Oh, where is that? You know what was nice, and I'm getting to the story now, was when Good Morning America had Jane Kennedy on. Talk about her new memoir. That was beautiful because I haven't seen Jane Kennedy in years. And so she was on again to talk about her new book. And as someone who came up in the 70s and 80s, Jane Kennedy still is, but was fine. Just a stunning beauty. I remember she had a syndicated program where she was interviewing top athletes of the day. But her groundbreaking role was being an anchor on NFL Today on CBS. And as she was being interviewed by Robin Roberts, she said she didn't know she was breaking ground. She had auditioned for the role. Then it went down to 15 ladies. and all 14 other ladies had blonde hair. And she got the role and got the anchor position. That is so cool. Let's see. Sick Tights Wash is the reason why studio/session musicians and vocalists get their credit on albums. When people go through strife and controversy, hopefully it would pave the way for others to have a smoother pavement as they walk that road. Hopefully. And Sick, you're absolutely correct. But you have to fight. As I keep saying, that's the key word here. You have to fight. Because who's going to fight for you? You have to fight for yourself. So Jane Kennedy now is 73 years old. And once again, I was coming up, she was in magazines, of course, Ebony Jet, singer in film. She was married to a guy named Leon Isaac Kennedy. That's where the Kennedy name had come from. And they had done a couple of movies together. I remember Body and Soul. They did that together. And so to see these people from the past come back up and have these wonderful stories to share, and you catch up with them. Because again, I haven't seen her in a long time, man. Let's see here. Get that out the way here. Jane Kennedy will tell you she never had a goal to be famous. She didn't set out to become friends with athletes like Muhammad Ali or inspire other broadcasters like Oprah Winfrey. She describes in her new memoir, Plain Jane, and she spells her name Jane, Jayne, that she just wanted to be the same old Ohio kid and sports lover her parents raised. But her mom's suggestion that she enter a pageant put her on an unexpected path. Kennedy made it to Miss USA semifinals in 1970 after becoming the first black woman to win Miss Ohio. A slew of on-screen roles and Hollywood connections came after, but by 1978, when CBS Sports was looking to replace its sole female anchor on the NFL of Today, she went for it, but she still had barriers to break once she got an audition. I told you about the audition, about the 15 blondes. Original NFL Today host Brent Musburger took notice. Kenny said, "We're laughing and talking and having a great time." And Brent Musburger stood up and said, "It's Jane or nobody." But they still didn't want to hire me because they were afraid of Southern affiliates would have an issue with that. And when you think about that, you're talking about a time, and maybe they still do it, probably not as much, but it's kind of parallel to when I was watching a documentary about Nat King Cole. Nat King Cole was a fantastic personality and talent, as you know. And he had a show on network television on NBC back in the 50s. And certain affiliates in the South would not take the show because it was a black man who had his own network TV show. They didn't take it. And then you didn't have any sponsor for the show. No sponsor wanted to sponsor the Nat King Cole show at all. It wasn't on that long. But we go back and watch, I'm sure it's on YouTube somewhere. It is a very polished, very fine program. Very well produced. Then he was told that, meaning Nat King Cole, that if you have a white guest or a guest happens to be white that was female, you can't hug her. For example, you're doing the show and it's like, I want to welcome my guest. She won an Oscar for Mary Poppins and now she's on Broadway now. We're her own Broadway show. I'm back. Please welcome back to the show, Julie Andrews. I say Julie comes out, you can't even shake hands. You can't even hug or do some acknowledgement because he's black. And this reminds me of that, going back to Jane Kennedy. How Southern affiliates wouldn't pick it up because of her being black. A lot of history there. And just the fact that, and I'm gonna get her memoir too, once again called Plain Jane. She once again promoting it, having a promo tour, stop by Going to America. It is great to see her. Again, 73 years old. I adored her. I really did when I was a kid. I mean, because you're a youngster, you're slobber knocking and everything. Oh, here goes Jane Kennedy. Because it was, but to watch her work, I wasn't a big football fan at the time, but I watched the NFL today because of her. And then I realized, of course, that she was extremely talented. Looked dead in the camera, did her thing, hit her mark, and it was just so phenomenal as how she did it. Because again, there wasn't anybody out there doing like that back in the day. And doing an interview and with Muhammad Ali, and man, yeah, I remember. I think it was Body and Soul. Once again, the movie she did with her husband, then husband, Leon Isaac Kennedy. If you were of a certain age and you remember I hate the term, black exploitation films. So Leon Isaac Kennedy was known for his movies of boxing, like a Penitentiary and Penitentiary 2 that he starred in. Ernie Hudson, who went on to have great success in films, was in, he was in Penitentiary 2. Played the character Half Dead. Now, that's a hell of a character name. You Half Dead, that's your character name. And I believe that Mr. T was in Penitentiary 2. He helped train the Leon Isaac Kennedy character. He was like, he's too fast, too quick, he's too sweet. He had this lamp or something, and this puff of smoke would come out after he said, he's too sweet, and whatever that came out. Oh, man. And Muhammad Ali was in that movie, too. Body and Soul. Not the Penitentiary, but the Body and Soul movie. Again, boxing. So that was one of those things where you have to really appreciate in real time. I told you as a Tales of Misspent Youth, I go to the Rhodes Theater on 79th and Rhodes. It's a movie theater. So, man, I'll go there, get my popcorn and drink and hot dogs and everything else and watch the movies, whatever was the flick of the week. And those movies that I talked about, Penitentiary and Body and Soul, I saw those there as a kid. Sammy Davis Jr. talked about the outrage of Julie Andrews reaching out and holding Harry Belafonte's hand during a special in the 60s when he was on Arsenio. And even going back to that, like that connection you just talked about with Harry Belafonte. February of 1968, Harry Belafonte sat in for Johnny Carson on The Tonight Show for a week. And there's a documentary called The Sit-In. And nobody, I'm a creature of late night. I love late night television. Not so much now. I mean, I love Stephen Colbert, and I appreciate Jimmy Kimmel. That's about it. But I'm talking about when I was coming up, it was Carson, Letterman, Arsenio. And then eventually Conan O'Brien grew on me. So late night television was very fun to watch. These are very eclectic hosts. And Harry Belafonte was in there for a week. And so some affiliates, again, Southern affiliates, not want to air it because Harry Belafonte was filling in for Johnny Carson. And you watch the documentary, it is fascinating because it was literally taped over. So back in the day when the Tonight Show was in New York, even Carson talked about this too. instead of keeping the reels from the shows, they would tape over those shows to save money. And so when they taped over those shows, they taped over the week that Harry Belafonte was on. There's a couple of segments that were found because of documentary, and they were do some research. There was one guy, I think he lived in New Jersey somewhere, and he like literally taped everything from radio and television, and they got a hold of him and got some of the footage that Belafonte was on to the Tonight Show on NBC. But other than that, it was taped over. Some segments were called. You may see some still pictures of Belafonte behind the desk on the Tonight Show set again in New York, and you see all these wonderful guests like Jim Brown and Bill Cosby, Dionne Warwick, Lena Horne. Again, just all these great people that he knew. He had Dr. Martin Luther King on the show. And as history reports, that was the last television interview that he did was with Harry Belafonte on the Tonight Show. Because it's 1968, and then King gets assassinated later that April in Memphis, as we all know. But his last television appearance was on to the Night Show, guest hosting by Harry Belafonte, and they were close friends. Let's see who else is on here. Hello, Misty. Good evening to you too. How you doing? Thank you for being here. How's everything? Good to see you. One of my former students from the days of Kennedy King College. Nice young lady. Very nice. Very thoughtful. I say a little spicy. Very cool indeed. You all good? Thank you. I'm glad you're all good. We gotta connect one day, depending on your schedule. Go out for lunch, something like that. That's okay with you. Gotta reconnect and go from there. I'm glad you're doing well. So yeah, that's okay with you. Go out for lunch one day, reconnect, and catch up. Absolutely. Let's see what Misty says here. Oh yeah, you know good and goddamn well you spicy. I mean, you extra spicy. If Misty was a chicken, it would be extra spicy. You got to come correct. That's kind of spice that you eat like spicy foods, like, and then drink milk behind it because it's so spicy. Yeah, that's Misty for sure. What you got here? Yes, we should absolutely. I totally. We got to reconnect probably on Facebook Messenger. If you do that, and then we'll go from there. We got here laughing emojis. Yeah, it's right. Please. I remember when Misty was a student at Columbia College. Not Columbia College. I'm getting my shit mixed up. Kennedy King. I went to Columbia after that. So when I was at Kennedy King for 2 years, I was news director for the radio station, WKKC. And I remember talking to her, and I remember we had the students do newscast, and she was very strong. Her delivery didn't take no shit from nobody, which I liked, and just tough. Just tough. If she got into a fight with someone, not condoning violence, mind you, but if she got into a fight, my money would be on her. Really, I mean, a foot in ass type of fight. Mister, whatever size shoe you have, yeah, it'll be that. Ooh, yeah, it'll be the person. If you got into a fight with in the hallways of the school back in the day, that person was wearing 3 shoes, 2 on their feet and 1 in their ass from your shoe. Oh man, I get a kick out of that because as an instructor, and you see somebody doing well in radio, that's what we were going to at the time. You see their greatness, but they haven't seen it yet. So you have to cultivate it and nurture it. Her and a guy named Shy Blizz, which I see you do some stuff with Shy Blizz, another person from KKC. and I see him doing his morning shift show from time to time. I see you two doing a collabo thing. Former, colleagues and students and everything else still connect and still work together. I think it's wonderful. Misty types, you were a great teacher. Oh, thank you, Misty. That means a lot to me. That's coming from the bottom. That means a lot. I love teaching radio. I might try to get back into it. Someone suggested maybe I should just teach solo on my own. I thought about it, or possibly collab with some other radio instructors or radio people who just want to form my own thing. I don't mind that, but like anything else, you need money. You need financial backers that would do something like that. I had to, again, I think about it, but that takes a lot of investment, a lot of work. I would like to go somewhere where I can just teach again, like I did at Kennedy King, Columbia, and IMS. But you keep your options open, like anything else. But again, Misty, thank you for that. That means a lot to me. Speaking of teachers, I have a friend of mine named Lydia Davis Eady, and Lydia used to work at Ebony Jet. She was one of the right hand to the publisher and founder John Johnson, John H. Johnson. And at the time, Ebony Jet owned a radio station called WJPC, Johnson Publishing Company. That's the call this come from, JPC. You might have heard it over the years. Tom Joyner. Who else was on that station? Of course, Donna Tittle. A person called BBD Banana. I was got a kick out of his name. BBD Banana. And a host of others. But there was a guy that worked there who did news, had a talk show on the weekends, did interviews with celebrities that walked through Ebony Jet. His name was Ty Wansley. And Lydia and Ty were very close friends and worked at Ebony Jet together for years. And she wrote a very touching piece about him on her Facebook page. And it's a lot to get into. I won't bore you with the particulars. I know some people want to, oh, shit, he's going to read some shit. No, that's not it. I just feel that when you honor people and you invoke their names, because unfortunately Ty passed away, that they still stay alive. And I think that keeps them alive when that happens. So when Lydia was typing her comments about Ty, I just had to sit back and, I don't know. I'll read it to you anyway. I'll put it like that. Here's what Lydia typed on her Facebook page. Ty Wansley. He was absolutely one of the best, a great newsman, so intelligent, insightful, articulate. Everybody from all walks of life wanted to tell Ty, whether it was on his talk show program or on the morning news. He was the guy. Always a gentleman, always kind and caring, always upstanding. He was my best friend for 30 years. He left us 10 years ago. His birthday is September 1st. One of his special friends reminded me that we should celebrate Ty Wansley Day. We will never forget you. So she has some pictures of Ty from his publicity photo from back in the day at WJPC, and a picture of him when he was working on V103. It hurts still because he's not here anymore. I told you about that year from hell in 2015. Yeah. Yeah, he died that same year my wife did in 2015. It's never easy. Let's see. Let me go back to the comment section here. Let's see, hold on. Okay, there we go. Okay. I think once again was Misty Typer, so thank you for that. Barbara Jean Tice, Chris Bates, Misty D. Campbell. I met y'all at 4655 South King Drive. Okay. Misty Tice, Barbara Jean, yes, yes, you did. How are you? They exchanged their information. Let's see. Barbara Jean, by the way, isn't today Devorah Crable's birthday? Yeah, that's right. That's right. Sure is. That's right. So Ty, September 1st, Devorah Crable, I think it's September 2nd. I go back and check. I thought hers was the 2nd. I could be wrong. And then I'm on the 4th, being tomorrow. So we always like bookend together. That's pretty cool. Let's see. Omar Tice, I remember Ty Wansley. I listened to him every Sunday morning before I go to church, and he was one of a kind. I will never forget him. Ty Wansley also hosted a syndicated program called Urban Street. Right. Urban Street was a TV news, kind of like a magazine program that he and Richard Steele co-anchored and co-host together. So I remember that. That was on, I believe, Channel 26 to you. I could be wrong. Correct me if I'm wrong, but just overall talented. And I was blessed to have known him, for him to be my teacher and my mentor. Because, and I told the story before, so he was an incredibly busy man. Busy, stayed busy. So I remember, let's see, back in 2015, this is after, unfortunately, my wife passes away in February. And I tried to call him sometimes, but sometimes his voicemail would be full on his personal phone and at GCI on his office phone. That would be filled. So I called the GCI number, the office number on the whim, and he picks up. And I know the tone in his voice, I know he was busy because he stayed busy. I said, man, I haven't told him about my wife passing away yet. I was like, look, I got to catch up on this. I've been through a lot of shit. I got to catch up on you. How you doing? He told me he was doing okay. I know you're busy. Take my number down and give me a call when you can. So he took my number down. And it was real quick. It was good to hear his voice again. A couple months later, he had passed away. Same year as my wife. So I'm devastated. I don't know what to do at this point. And again, it's before my heart surgery. So it was, when people say 2015, yeah, I just like, yeah, it's it hurt, to say the very least. I really thought that, I'll put it like this. As the young folks say, life be lifing. Yeah, sick. They got an emoji up there. Yeah, that's what happened. So it was rough. It was really rough. I'll say this with no qualms whatsoever. Certain programs do not want you to talk about religion because you don't want to phase anybody out. It's my program, so I do what the fuck I want to do. So let me say this. Now, I go say fuck talk about religion. Follow me on this. When you feel like your life has now taken a 180 shift, a trajectory you don't want to be in, because now you're alone by August 2015, there's no more family that you have. You can't tell me there's no God. You can't tell me there's no higher being and power that looks over all of us. You can't tell me that, because I believe. I didn't always. I can sit here in front. I didn't. I cursed God. I yelled and screamed because it's like, why me? And then my thinking changed from why me to why not me? Who am I in the grand scheme of things? Who am I? Why not you? Because it's life. You have no control over that, obviously, when it comes to life and death. All you can do is think about the hyphen in between the year you were born and the year you're going to expire. That hyphen in the middle is what you do to make it worthwhile. It took me a while to get to that point because I was broken. And I still believe I am broken to a degree. I'll cop to that. Healing does not have a timeline on it sometimes. Healing could be for the rest of your life. That's what I believe. So you can't tell me there's no Lord. There's no God. We're all living proof. That's how I feel. And so to go through all that and have some sort of understanding of your surroundings, hopefully you can grow. Hopefully you can learn from it. And again, it's never easy, but you try to grow from it. Six types of that is so true. Yeah. And then life again surprises you. You look down the road, your two daughters are doing well as to be expected. One of your daughters get married. This is the one that went to Arizona. So now you bring in a new son-in-law at the time. I remember when they visited us from Arizona, and it was around Thanksgiving. And I remember Edward, who at the time was my daughter's boyfriend, said, I'm going to ask Mattia to marry me. I said, hell yeah, you better do that. Showed me the ring and everything else, and visited us. And then they went over to Edward's mother's house, and then that's when he proposed to her. And I remember Mattia showing me the video of how he proposed to my daughter. It was beautiful. I like Edward. Not much of a talker. He's a very quiet man. I respect that. But he loves my daughter. That's important. That's all I care about. And then down the road, end up having two grandchildren, Emery and Everly, a boy and a girl. It's amazing how that goes. Life goes on, as folks say, sick type. Absolutely. It's still something in for me now that I'm a grandfather. It was a shock to the system, literally. Because again, when my wife was like, we didn't think about having grandchildren. We didn't think about that. We just want our children to be happy and healthy. And have good lives and be productive citizens and grow. And I remember when I got the news about Mattia being pregnant, I said, Vicky, who was the name of my wife, we're going to be grandparents. So you sit back and assess your life for what it is. And I tell people all the time that I try my best to represent, live in the moment. I told people over the years, Chris, you're so negative. That's not it. That's not it. It's not at all. The situation I see is negative does not make me negative. If I see this in front of my eyes, it's negative. You don't want to fool yourself. You see it for what it is. And circling back to Ty, I just wanted to catch up with him, man, because we haven't talked in a while during that time, and let him know what was going on in my life and what was going on in his life and everything else. I told you he was a workhorse, man. I remember, so when I got the nod to fill in for Ty, because Ty did news, morning news for WGCI, well, then WGCI, when they were airing the Steve Harvey morning show. And then he would do a recorded newscast for Inspiration 1390. They play gospel music. So I remember I was shadowing him and he was showing me around, and it was just fun to do that. I get a chance to fill in for my idol, my hero. And I remember doing that from time to time, coming in and filling in for him. But there were a lot of times where he just stayed at the office. He stayed at WGCI. He stayed there all day because he had to do interviews with people, and based upon their schedules, he had to wait there look, put it like this. I remember, so you're doing the 5 a.m. newscast. So we get there at 3 o'clock in the morning. He would be there from 3 a.m. to damn near 6 p.m. a whole day. Remember, this is like, so the last newscast was 8:45 a.m. What's it on the Steve Harvey morning show? It wasn't syndicated. And so after that, he would do production for his Sunday morning show coming up on V103, Chicago Speaks. And then again, like I said before, he would have guests coming in throughout the day to interview them. So he would be there again from 3 a.m. literally to 6 p.m. that night, sometime maybe 7. But I remember 6 in particular. That's a long time, doctor. I'm dedicated, but I gotta leave. I had to decompress and come home, or of course be with the family and everything else. But man, that's dedication. That's dedication beyond dedication. No wonder he was great, because he spent all that time in the lab. I call it in the lab, just getting better and better and better. Dedication, the workhorse mentality he had was inspiring. It really was. I remember, if you go back, if you're on Facebook and you see, because I take Lydia's story and said how I feel about Ty. You can read it for yourself. So the pictures of Ty, again, like I told you. And the one on the left is when he did a publicity photo for WJPC. And I remember back in the day, I would go to this mom and pop, probably plop because anyway, a mom and pop fast food place. You know, burgers and fries and pizza puffs and stuff like that. And they had Ty's picture up there, the one that he did from back in the day at JPC. I think I told Ty about that once. And his picture up there, and I just had it up there. I think what happened was the previous owners had it, and the new owners just left it up there. So it's his picture. I think LaDon Tittle's picture from JPC. So it's kind of like literally a throwback. They didn't take him down; they just left him up there. And every time I go there, I just see Ty smiling and everything else, but I'm about to get my cheeseburger. But again, it was fun. Again, his work ethic was inspiring, and he was inspiring as a gentleman and a man for all seasons. I remember when I heard him for the first time when I was in college, I said, if I could be half as good as this guy is, I think I'll be all right. As I stated on the thread that Lydia put up, that Ty Wansley will always be my Obi-Wan Kenobi. Always. Jed, you can't compete with someone who makes it their lifestyle. So very cool you had a mentor like that. Yeah, very blessed. And I'll get into another day. I had two great radio mentors and just beyond radio. The first was Ty Wansley, who I'm talking about, and then the other was Jay Marvin. And we'll get into Jay another time, but Jay was just, man, lights out fantastic. Never heard anything like the man. Dynamic. We'll get into that at another time of the story. But again, Ty, Obi-Wan Kenobi, forever. Thank you. We went overtime a little bit, but it is always nice to do that. Thank you for taking time out to be a part of the Precursor. And of course, that leads into Baseline, which of course that'll be Friday at 5 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Central, 2 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Of course, that's where Jade is on the West Coast there in the Bay Area. And all of you, of course, Sick Diggy and Misty and Barbara Jean and Annabelle and everybody else, and of course Omar and everybody who was participating that did not know you typed in or not. You were just checking me out. Thank you for doing that as well. So we congregate again on Friday. Continue to be safe. Continue to be sound. Continue to be healthy. And most importantly, above anything else, continue to be loved. Long live the peace. Long live the funk. More power to you. It's always imparting with all of you. Make sure you do the following. Keep your head up.